This week, we interview Jason Lois from Crossfire Cigars. In our Debonair Ideal segment, we're going to talk about dealing with Lacioderma sericorn, otherwise known as the tobacco beetle. In our Stogies of the Week, I'll talk about a 70 ring gauge cigar that's worth the price of admission. We'll talk about a very special Winston Churchill in a small batch that I know that we're all going to love. Will joins us live from Las Vegas, so be sure to stay tuned. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geeks Show. Bombay cigars represent the most admired cigar culture of Cuba. They select the best of the best quality tobacco to use in the aging process. Bombay cigars are then rolled in Costa Rica by some of the most experienced cigar rollers, giving it a unique smoking experience. The band portrays the detailed and artistic nature of our small industry. Try the Bombay Casera, Bombay Mora, and the recently released Bombay Habano. Bombay cigars, where the cigar is a way of life. Saga Cigars, makers of the Saga Golden Age. The Golden Age is a cigar that takes you back to the classic days of cigar smoking. Through the 6 generations of experience by the Reyes family, the Saga Golden Age delivers a timeless blend that uses the nobility of the tobacco to bring you the perfect balance of power and flavor. It narrates better than words the history of a family's tradition in tobacco, delivering a cigar much like the ones they used to smoke in the times of Hemingway. Saga Golden Age is a full-bodied, full-flavored Dominican Puro. With tobaccos from one farm, the blend features a Corojo 2006 wrapper and filler from original Cuban seeds grown in the Dominican Republic. Available in 4 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Golden Age is sure to please and take you back on a journey to yesteryear. Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest growing boutique cigar companies, providing smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the same quality, construction, and detail which he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran Premium Cigar Series, Azan Cigars, Nea, and Baracoa. Duran Cigars uses a seed-to-humidor approach, as all tobacco is grown on their farms and rolled in their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geeks Show. This is episode 176 for February 25th, 2016. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined in studio by Jared Trudeau, a.k.a. Ed McMahon, here with us tonight.
Yes, hello.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Jared.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I agree.
We're starting off drinking water. I don't know what's wrong with us.
Yeah, really behind the times
We're
here.
like old and well, at least I'm old, pacing myself. Anyway,
yeah, I haven't had a drink today, so if I'm shaking during the broadcast, that's
okay.
probably what it is.
I think our bartender over there is going to take care of us. Fabulous executive producer Keith wears multiple hats here at the Stogie Geeks and is going to mix us some drinks as well. On the lines via Skype, live from Las Vegas, it's Will Cooper. Welcome, Will.
Hey guys. First of all, this is a very historic show tonight because this is the first time I don't have a cigar.
Sad.
That's very sad.
Very sad.
I have a cigar.
Yeah, so
Jared has a cigar.
I also have a cigar,
Yeah, and just so folks know, I'll go real quick. If Paul knows me well enough, I am always the one to look for a smoking room and make sure I have a smoking room.
And you did, but then they pulled the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, I had a smoking room. I booked it. I confirmed it. And when I got here, I was told I don't have a smoking room. And I said, well, why don't I have a The hotel went non-smoking about a week beforehand. And so that was a big surprise to me. And I did not have a lot of... So I'm going to have to watch you guys smoke and apologize to everyone out there. But little I could do here. I didn't feel it was right to pay the. I could have paid the fine actually, but there's other people on this floor who were expecting a non-smoking, so want to be debonair about that.
I will tell you my secret for getting away with smoking in a hotel.
No.
I have one. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I do. I do.
So here's what you do. So you go to your room. I'm an expert in this because I travel.
Is this like the rental car
for cigars.
trick?
Okay.
I think it is.
It's so you go to your room, Will. You call from the room phone. You say, I'm already all packed in and everything like that. I just wanted to let you guys know the room smells like smoke and I didn't want to get hit with a fine. And when they say, oh, sir, would you like us to change your room or something like that? No, I'm already all moved out. It's not a problem. I just didn't want to get in trouble. And they say, okay, we hope you enjoy your accommodations. They'll send you something lovely to drink possibly. And then you can smoke away. And it's already on record that you called saying that there was a problem.
So the key thing is light your cigar right away. Because you don't want them coming up,
And it not smelling like smoke. Right. If they call you on your shit, then you make some smoke smell happen. You know what I'm saying? Which is very easy for us to do. So
then the person that had the room previous to you gets hit with the fine.
Yeah, but you don't know them, and they could say,
I do not approve of this message, Jared. I do not approve.
This is a Jared message, okay? Will, you can use it at your own discretion, but just say it smells like smoke.
I've heard of people doing this with.
I have done that with a rental car.
I've heard this people do with rental cars. Yeah,
I've gotten caught smoking while driving a rental car out of the rental car garage. That's how badly after my flight I needed a cigar. So, yeah.
And what did they do? Did they fine you right away?
No, they just kind of looked at me funny, and then when I got back, they were like, "Were you smoking when you left?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
No,
I don't think so.
wasn't doing that.
That doesn't sound like me." So that's my tip to you, Will.
I don't. This is not a Stogie Geeks approved message.
No. And I apologize to our giant following in the hotel and hospitality business for offending your sensibilities, but that's my tip.
Well, we got to survive out there. So.
That's right, man.
That's right. We got to stick together.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, why don't you introduce our guest for this evening?
Yes, so we have Jason Lois of Crossfire Cigars making his Stogie Geeks debut. Jason, welcome to Stogie Geeks.
Coop, thanks so much. Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Jared. You guys have no idea the impact that you have on the industry. I think what you all do is great. I always tune in and check out what you all have to say. Educating the masses, it's fantastic, and everybody appreciates what you guys do and the time that you put in.
Thank
Jason,
you very much.
Yeah, Jason, thank you very much. I want to get into your cigars, but first I want to ask you how you got your start in the cigar industry.
Well, Paul, it's a funny question. I was actually in subrogation law. I was a client services liaison for a subrogation law firm that our clients were billion-dollar health insurers, so your big guys, Aetna, Cigna, and so forth. And I was the guy that basically made sure that our clients were happy. I was the channel between our company and theirs. And any new products and stuff that we implemented, I was in charge of that. And I was bored to tears. You probably just got bored with me talking about it.
Yeah, I'm counting tiles on the wall.
Right? And Jared, by the way, I have a bill for you. I was actually in a room that you were in.
It's
so
me. It was me all along.
I'm going to send you the bill, my man. I'm going to send you the bill.
I won't pay it.
But I just started looking into things that I was passionate about. I've been a cigar smoker for a long time. And I just wanted to make my passion, my hobby, my occupation. And so I started a small cigar club, and that grew into a brokerage, which grew into a cigar lounge, and then flipped the script and went back to the manufacturer end, and now I'm the national sales and brand manager for Crossfire.
Excellent. Jason, you've got a few cigars in your portfolio, and we've been smoking quite a few here at the Stogie Geeks. You sent us a very generous package of all your cigars, and I've shared them with Jared. And we've had a chance. Actually, tonight, I'm smoking my second. Is it your second, too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Will, I don't know if you were hoping some of those cigars would be for a prize pack, because we smoked most of them, which is a testament to how good your cigars are, Jason. So, But we're smoking the Crossfire Platinum. This looks like a large Robusto size, I would call it.
We call it the Gordo. It's a 5.5
Gordo.
by 56. And that Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro is just an amazing wrapper. That cigar's got so much flavor. It's like a roller coaster. It's just wave after wave of strength and flavor profile. And people just love that cigar. It's great.
And what's the binder and filler on this cigar?
It's Dominican binder and filler.
Okay. It's very good. What other sizes does this come in the line?
That's available in 2 sizes. So we have the Gordo, that 5.5 by 56 that you're smoking in, and then a 6 by 60 that we call the Magnum.
Now, Will, have you smoked this one?
That one I have not smoked yet. No.
It's really good. It's interesting. I would have pegged it as a more Nicaraguan flavor profile. Would you say
I said the same thing? Either that or like it almost has like a San Andreas-y sort of like toastiness to it. You know what I mean?
But
like
I got
that dry,
like
earthy sort of profile.
But I also got kind of like a Nicaraguan kind of twang.
Yeah,
to it, but
it does. It does have that little spice.
It does have some twang. But if before you lit it, if you took a whiff of the foot, it has this like dried fruit, almost apricot kind of nuance to it that's very enjoyable. That when you think of full-bodied cigars, you normally don't think of smelling that kind of nuance from that cigar. So it's very interesting and very unique cigar.
Now, Jason, tell us about your Connecticut, because I'm very much a Connecticut connoisseur. Will, I don't know if you smoked the Connecticut.
I did smoke the Connecticut.
Yeah, and Jared, we've all smoked the Connecticut, and like I said, I smoke a lot of different Connecticut's. I mean, everything from Davidoff to AJ Fernandez to EP Carrillo. I mean, and anyone who comes out with a Connecticut, part of my review cycle ends up landing in the morning hours, right? Which is good because I think a lot of like Will's and like your review cycles are more towards the evening. So I kind of balance out the portfolio, and I smoke a lot of the Connecticut's. I really liked your Connecticut. I smoked it in the Churchill. I smoked 2 of them. I thought it had a great natural tobacco. We were talking about this, like you say, well, it has a natural tobacco flavor. Well, it's tobacco. Of course, it's going to have that profile, but it was like a natural tobacco sweetness with like
just really pure tasting, just really
a little
clean.
bit of wood, but it was more like a just natural tobacco is the best way I could describe it.
And you hate saying that because it's like, no shit, every cigar should taste like natural
Exactly.
tobacco, you know? But it really does. It has this overwhelming, pure, natural tobacco sort of profile to it that's really creamy and really nice.
I called it a classic Connecticut.
Classic.
It doesn't try and be too mild, doesn't try and
not
be too strong.
heavy-handed at all.
I thought you nailed it with that one, Jason.
I agree.
William Ventura, our master blender, is fantastic. And I don't know if you've ever told the history about William or not, but I'll take this opportunity to kind of go back a little bit before we come forward. So William was Zeno Davidoff's right-hand man, helped him grow Davidoff. If there was a problem in Sweden, he flew to Sweden. Whatever the issues were, he was the master blender and engineer for Zeno for over 20 years. He's been our master blender for the entire duration Crossfire's been around, so almost 7 years now. And I've asked him multiple times, this is what we were talking about before the show began, I've asked him multiple times on multiple occasions, different visits to the Dominican, and asked him if he could smoke any cigar for the rest of his life. And I'm talking about Davidoff Life or whatever other cigars that he's blended for other manufacturers. What would that cigar be? And hands down, it's the Crossfire Connecticut. It was actually, the Connecticut was a blend that he had put together, and then we jumped on it, and it's been our Connecticut since. And it's an Ecuadorian grown Connecticut, and it's Dominican binder and filler. Normally your Dominican cigars, Connecticut cigars, have that grassy, almost hay kind of nuance to it. And this is the exact opposite.
You're right.
No,
has more of that woody, almost a toast kind of nuance to it. And it's very, very enjoyable, especially with that early morning coffee to get your day started. It's just an unbelievably fantastic, mild cigar. But it's not too mild. It's right there. I would call it a mild medium. It's on the verge of getting into that medium profile. But still, it's a great cigar.
And what's,
I found it didn't try to reinvent the Connecticut. I mean, but it was a very what I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah, I called it like those classic Connecticut flavors, but not being on either end of the spectrum too far. And that I find is difficult for the blender to accomplish in that Connecticut because it's a difficult wrapper leaf to work with to balance off those flavors. And so I find some blenders will put too much like strength and body to overcompensate for the wrapper, or put not enough. And I think the Connecticut's that I love like nail that right in between and produce those great flavors. And this was one that did it for me.
Because if you don't compensate for the wrapper with the filler, you get that really dry, acrid sort of profile to it. But if you overcompensate, then you end up
with something kind of unbalanced. It almost it becomes unbalanced.
Well, William's got so much knowledge. I mean, this guy he's forgotten more about tobacco than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
We were sitting in the factory while I was there in January. I was there for a couple weeks, and we were doing pachuche. So we were sampling each individual leaf on its own, not smoking a premium long filler cigar, but smoking each individual leaf on its own. So Corojo, we had Lajero, Viso, and Seco. We had Criollo 98, and Piloto Cabano, and just a plethora of different leaves. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, what about this leaf with this? And William would look at me and shake his head and go, no, that won't work. And you gotta believe a guy like that. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge, and I like to talk. I do events all over the nation, and doing Crossfire events in these lounges and stuff, and I engage my people that come to these events because they're so gracious to take the time out of their day to come and see me. So I like to give as much knowledge and education as I possibly can in these events, and it's just amazing that the wealth of knowledge when I go there and I just shut up. I want to learn. I want to learn from the best. They actually call him the maestro in the Dominican because everybody is just they know how well he does his craft, and it's appreciated amongst the masses.
And Jason, what sizes does the Connecticut come in? I think Jared and I smoked the Churchill. Will, I don't know did you smoke the Churchill as well?
Churchill.
Okay. What other sizes does it come in?
Yeah, it comes in 6 sizes. So it comes in a Robusto, a Toro, Torpedo, Churchill, a 5x60 Perfecto, and a 6x60.
I saw the picture of the Perfecto on your website.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to try that one as well.
5x60 Perfecto?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's a really nice smoke. And, Perfectos are, for your novice, it's a hard cigar to smoke. So you have to be somebody that knows how to smoke that kind of Vitola. But if you can smoke that cigar, man, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I find you have to have patience with the Perfecto.
Yeah.
And I think to speak to your point, Jason, when you first light up that Perfecto, your inclination is to really puff on it a lot and puff on it hard to try and get it going. But you have to have patience and realize you're not going to get as much smoke in the beginning. It's going to take time to come into its own. And if you're patient with it, you're rewarded, I think, with much better flavors rather than if you puff really hard through that first third to get it to the point where it starts producing a lot of smoke. You have to be patient with it.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes with a Perfecto, too, it's the transitions in a Perfecto are so unbelievably different because you have so many different Vitolas that you smoke through. And a lot of smoking a Perfecto is in the cut, too, because your first inclination, if you're a novice smoker, is to overcut it because it looks like you want to get it to a fatter part of the cigar. But really, it's all in the taper. You know what I mean? It's all making sure you cut it correctly. And it's funny, like mentioning a 5x60 Perfecto, going back to that, how many Connecticut Perfectos can you think about, Will?
Not many.
Like the La Aurora, Connecticut, the Preferido, Connecticut. That's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head.
You and I were just thinking the exact same thing right now because I just started thinking, there's not a lot of those at all.
No,
and it's because it's a delicate wrapper too, and that's probably not an easy thing to do with a delicate wrapper. Like a
Davidoff made one, but I don't know if they still make it.
Davidoff made the. They made
they made a Colorado Claro.
They made a Colorado Claro, but they also made a. Man, I was just talking about this with Zach, the Davidoff rep. They have a larger Perfecto size,
Yes.
and then they have a super large, like a 9.5-inch long one. That's like a unicorn level cigar that like you never ever see absolutely anywhere.
I gotcha. I've never
and I
heard
forget
of it
what
before.
the name.
Yeah.
I forgot what the name of it was. But yeah, you're right. Like that's really the
It's
only ones
really
I can
rare.
think of. Yeah,
Right.
it's super rare.
Yeah, that cigar actually really opens up after that first third, and it gets to that bulb part of the Perfecto, and the flavors just kind of are very pronounced in that cigar.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to smoke that.
Yeah, we gotta find some of those.
I know a guy. So
You know a guy, right?
check that out.
Good to know.
Well, before we get into the distribution and the business side of it, because we like to talk about that here on the Stogie Geeks show as well, Jason, tell us about some of your other blends that you have as well.
Okay, so we have the Connecticut, Corojo, and Habano. That's the core line. That's what Crossfire basically came to market with 7 years ago. A couple years after that, they expanded into 2 more lines, the Platinum, which you're smoking now, and then the Habano Maduro. Both of those are available in 2 sizes, and the core line are available in 6 sizes. And then this year at IPCPR, we launched the Library Series, which I'm really proud about. The concept and blends were already put together before I came on board, but I was able to design the box that these come in. And I don't know if you can see it there,
Nice.
but it looks like a first edition novel that you can sit on your library shelf.
Oh, that's cool.
And the tray slides out this way. Oh, go this way. Tray slides out there to showcase the product.
That's a cool box.
And we have
Absolutely.
thank you. And we have 3 blends in there. They're all 6 1/4 by 56 box press. There's a San Andreas, Mexican San Andreas, Dominican binder and filler. There's another Connecticut, so it's a Connecticut box press. And then we have the Ecuadorian Arapiraca with Dominican binder and filler. And that Arapiraca, man, and the San Andreas are killing it.
Nice.
I like Arapiraca Maduro
Yeah, absolutely. I do too.
better than Matafina, I think. I like it a lot better.
Will,
Yeah, so that
go ahead,
Arapiraca
Jason.
is normally associated with like Brazilian.
Brazil, yeah. We use Brazilian Arapiraca in a lot of our cigars.
Yeah. So this is Ecuadorian, and I don't know how much you can see there, but this wrapper has this brindly kind of oily sheen to it.
Yeah, you can see it in the light.
If we could win an award for how gorgeous the wrapper was, I mean, we'd win something. I guarantee it, because that thing is amazing. And then you smoke it, and it's just such a unique cigar. It's just got so much going on. You kind of have to sit there and just kind of take it all in and just really think about the different flavors that you're experiencing, because there's just chock full of flavor.
Will, did you have more questions for Jason?
Yeah, I know there's a couple of other lines we didn't touch on yet, which was the Corojo and the Habano. So maybe you could fill us in a little on those.
Yeah, both the Corojo and Habano are, again, Ecuadorian wrappers. The only non-Ecuadorian wrapper that we use to date is our San Andreas, the Mexican San Andreas. And then every cigar that we have is Dominican binder and filler. But the Corojo and Habano, again, are available in 6 sizes, exactly the same 6 sizes that the Connecticut is available in. And the price range is from $5.99 to $11.99, including the Library Series.
And as far as your cigars go, I guess we could start hitting on this a little. They're all regular production, correct?
The Library Series is not. The Library Series is limited production. 500 boxes of each blend, so 1,500 boxes total were made of the Library Series. And that was the San Andreas in Connecticut were released last year's IPCPR in New Orleans. And then we waited on the Arapiraca. It was ready, but it wasn't ready, if you know what I mean. We needed to sit on it. It needed to kind of sit in the aging room a little bit and just take some time for those flavors to kind of just mesh and marry together. And October, we had another launch party. We had a launch party at Party Source up in Bellevue, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. You know, back to the Arapiraca, at least I find that's the toughest wrapper with a blend in terms of what I find people getting right. And I find it, and I've had the Ecuadorian, and I just find the Ecuadorian to be softer, I guess is the best way to put it. Because sometimes I find the Brazilian is a little musty, And at Ecuadorian, I just find it has a softer touch is the best way to put it, and I think it meshes nice in a blend.
Yeah, it meshes nice in this cigar, and I tell you what, you better be ready for this one because it's strength and flavor all chalked into one. And I hope you got some, Will, and if you didn't, I'll make sure we get some out to you.
Yeah, I had to have an emergency delivery out to Vegas because when they did come, but I had them then over. I had a small subset overnighted, so from home, so because I want to make sure I had them, and then I couldn't smoke. So go figure.
Hey, Will, you have to make one promise for me tonight, buddy. You have to make a promise that you won't sing any more Phil Collins songs.
Oh, that was from last week. Yeah, see, Jason's with me. No Phil Collins.
No Phil Collins, no Bon Jovi.
That's right. Jason's with me. All right, Jason. I knew I liked you. Those are my only 2 rules in the studio.
No Phil Collins.
No Phil Collins, no Bon Jovi.
What about the drums from In the Air Tonight? Can we do that?
The drums are okay. If it's just the drums, it's okay.
All right.
But I was telling my previous show, like, there's not a lot of rules here in the studio. Like, guys come in, they can play music as long as it's not Phil Collins, Bon Jovi. They can smoke, they can drink, they can swear. Like, it's pretty relaxed environment here in the studio.
Yeah, not a lot of rules.
Right.
You know who's a huge Bon Jovi fan?
Who's
Our
that?
man Bill Belichick.
Oh, really?
He travels around to Bon Jovi concerts. He goes on his boat and stuff like that. They're like best friends. Very strange. Often in the box.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
Glad you brought that up on the show.
Yeah. Segue. Yeah. Yeah. So now we got to talk about Bon Jovi, I guess.
Yeah, I promise. I promise.
Yeah, Will's on a Wi-Fi connection in Las Vegas, so from the hotel, which is always kind of dicey. I always kind of caution the guests that I'm like, we do our pre-screening calls. I'm like, where are you going to be calling from? If they're like, I'm going to be at a hotel, I'm like, yeah, maybe we want to adjust the dates for when you're not at a hotel because it can be kind of dicey.
Mm-hmm.
Will, your connection's held up until just then, but it seems like it came back.
Okay, it's back.
Yeah, it's back. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, Jason, I was just saying, too, we'll feature some of obviously the Crossfire on Cigar Poop, so stay tuned for that as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Will, do you have more questions for Jason?
So, Jason, talk a little about, I want to talk a little about one thing that I was really impressed with and this is something I've told Paul, on what we do is I love that you had a mission and a vision statement. And why don't you talk a little about that? Because I think that was it was kind of a differentiator I looked at, just seeing that right on your website, especially around some of the stuff you're doing with the vision statement.
Right. Thanks for bringing that up, Coop. So the reason that this company was founded was basically out of the love of the Dominican people. There's also a nonprofit organization that does tremendous work in the Dominican, Haiti, and in Mongolia that we partner with. And this was founded from that principle to empower the people of the Dominican, give them jobs, and to give them worth. And then, Crossfire, up until before when I was brought on board, was used as a connector of people that would get together and they would talk about the projects they were doing down in the Dominican or Haiti and in Mongolia. And those people may give to that nonprofit that were doing those great works down in the Dominican and Haiti. So that's the whole reason that this company was founded. And I tell you what, we're now that I've been a part of it for a little over a year now, it's really kind of taken off, and people are really accepting the mission of Crossfire. But they're also realizing that, hey, these are some really good cigars, and we're opening up a lot of accounts. I know Paul said that he looked on the website earlier today, and I just want to apologize for that website. It's just so out of date. I can only do so many things, and we're actually looking at getting that totally revamped and updating it, getting better pictures, and updating the store locators and stuff, because I think it only shows like 15 or 20 stores that are on there. And last year I opened up over 100 accounts. So
yeah, Jason, you don't have to apologize. I do technology for a living, and believe me, I totally sympathize with you there. I personally oversee probably 5 different websites, so it's hard to keep them all up to date with the latest technology because it always changes. So
Right.
I think I'm with Will, and I liked that mission and vision statement that you had on your website. Put the technology and the updating aside. Just realizing that you need to have that on your website and having it as well written as you did was impressive.
Great. Thank you so much, Paul.
Like I said, we talk to a lot of cigar manufacturers and brand owners, and I think I'm always big on mission and vision statements. So I said a big kudos to you guys on that. So as far as when was the company actually founded again?
It's going on 7 years ago now.
Okay, so in terms of your distribution footprint, the big question we get asked with our guests is, hey, where can I find the cigars?
Right. Right.
Where would you say?
The bulk of our retailers are kind of centrally located, Midwest, and then gravitating down towards the South and upper Northeast. We do have a couple sprinkled in retailers that are out on the West Coast, but again, I'm only one man trying to get out there and do events and spread the word about Crossfire. And there's so many cigars, as you guys are well aware, and so we're growing a little bit more organically. We don't have as much, big press and big pub. We don't pay for ads or anything like that, which could help us grow significantly if we were to do that. But we have been given some really good reviews. Actually, Cigar Press is coming out. This latest edition's got 2 of the library series, the San Andreas and the Arapiraca, on their highly recommended list. Cigars and Spirits just came out and reviewed the Mexican San Andreas of the library series in their latest edition. So we're slowly gaining some momentum. I try to do as much as I possibly can on social media, Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. And we're growing slowly, but we're slow and steady wins the race, right?
Absolutely. And with a small, obviously you have a finite amount of production you can do as well. So that can sometimes work in your favor as well, as opposed to just mass producing, everything.
Right. And we're really good as far as what we have in our warehouse that's located in Louisville, Kentucky, and what we need to get from the aging room down in the Dominican in the factory. So we're really honing that and making sure that we never have this back order, this back stock of orders that need to be fulfilled when product gets here to the States. So we're on top of that. Now, obviously, as we grow bigger, those are going to be hurdles that we're going to have to come across. But right now we're right on top of it.
Now, Jason, we're not too far from IPCPR to be here before we know it. Are there brands, new, kind of brands that you're coming out with, or new line extensions that you're planning, or, what are you working on?
When I was in the Dominican, like I said, for a couple weeks back in January, we were tinkering with a couple things, putting the Platinum in a Petite Corona, which, man, I tell you what, you're smoking that Platinum now, and I'd like to get your thoughts on that cigar, both you and Jared there. Will, unfortunately, you're left out in the cold, buddy.
Well, don't worry, I'm gonna have all my last legs.
So we're tinkering with that. We actually put the Habano and the Corojo in a Lancero, which would be totally new for us. So we're tinkering with that. Actually, I have a cigar right here. You can see it doesn't have a band on it currently, and it's all cut up and ready to go. This is a cigar that I was working on, and it's got a ton of things going on in this cigar. So I'm excited about that. We're just trying to finalize what we're going to do with these cigars and how we're going to bring them to market for IPCPR. So all that's kind of kept close to the vest right now until closer to showtime. Then we'll start releasing those.
Excellent. So in terms of distribution, where are you planning to go this year? So there are fans that are listening can maybe attend an event.
Oh man, we have a plethora of events already scheduled. We'll be in Delaware for that the cigars, was it cigar bars or cigar cars? You know what I'm talking about, Paul? The
No,
event.
in Delaware.
Yeah, in Delaware.
Is it like
It,
where they rent a bus and go to a bunch of different stores?
no, but I'm doing that up in Pittsburgh,
The
and
Pittsburgh is the big one. That event sounds
yeah,
awesome. It sounds
yeah.
awesome.
That event
So
sells out every year.
right. So we're doing those events. DC Tweet Up, Chattanooga Tweet Up. Um, there's so many events. We have an event at Jungle Gyms in
Hmm.
April. We have another event at Party Source in April, which those guys have been partners of us for quite a while now, and you know they're just those guys are huge. Those guys do tremendous amount of retail cigar sales and have just really helped us tremendously. So I want to say a big thank you to those guys.
Hey,
But
Jason, where in the Northeast are you distributing? Just selfishly, I'm always curious. Yeah.
selfishly, yeah, we have a few stores there in New Jersey,
Hmm.
Havana Lounge, Legends Lounge. We just signed on Smoker's Delight, so that's kind of right there in that New Jersey area. Uh, I believe there's a couple sprinkled in the New York area, but it's not a huge footprint. But we're we have a nucleus of shops, and we hope to expand from those up there in that Northeast area. And I've actually sent some samples to some guys there in the Rhode Island area. So I really like to see some feedback from those guys as well. Hopefully, this podcast will help us do that.
Yeah. Well, let Jared and I know which shops you sent him to.
Yeah, we can give you some insight.
Off air, and
Yeah.
we'll talk off air about that.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
sounds good, guys.
Will, more questions for Jason?
Yeah, I was actually just looking up real quick. The cigar, it's cars, bars, and cigars.
Yes,
and then
yes,
I
yeah.
it's driving me crazy. So that looks like it's for folks in the Delaware area. That's May 21st in Wyoming, Delaware. So
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
could be on the lookout.
that's going to be a big event. That's going to be a big event. We're excited about that one.
Yeah, so Jason, obviously before you came to
Oh.
or just kind of enjoyed.
What was that, Will? You cut out, buddy.
Gotta love that hotel Wi-Fi.
What was some of the cigars you enjoyed, cigar brands you smoked prior to coming to Crossfire?
That's a good question.
Man, that's a great question. Yeah, I'm not one of these guys that walks into a humidor and says, "Oh, those cigars are crap. You need to, put us in there because we're way better." I love these guys. Sam Lucia comes to mind. Clint Aaron, Fred Rui. The guys from Ezra Zion. I was the full gamut. I didn't just walk into a place and grab a stick because I was only a full-bodied smoker or I was only a medium or whatever. I smoked from the most mild cigar to the most full-bodied cigar that you could ever put in your mouth. And I love cigars. I love people's passion because when you break it all down, when somebody brings a cigar to market, they have put their time, their effort, and their passion into what they're doing, hoping that what you enjoy is something that you enjoy. What you smoke is something that you enjoy. So I appreciate all of these guys and their hard work and dedication to their craft. So I have no ill will or no bad words to say about any of these guys.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's funny. This is one of the only industries that you see that everybody kind of cares. You know what I mean? Everybody is passionate. Everybody gives a shit because, I mean, Glenn and I always joke about the fastest way to make $1 million in the cigar business is to start with 2. So it's not something you don't go into this business expecting to make your money. A lot of times the guys who are owners or manufacturers, whatever, a lot of times they already made their money if they didn't start in the cigar business with a factory and all that stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's something that you choose to do rather than something that you you know what I mean? It's oftentimes it's just a labor of love, a pure labor of love. So it's one of the only businesses where you can really interact with a lot of people that really, really care.
What I want to harp on, though, and along the lines of what Jason was saying, too, is the consumer aspect of it. And one of the things that I think doing the show for 4+ years has really brought me around to is you can't have any preconceived notions. And I think one of the things that hurts our industry is a lot of the consumers that have this preconceived notion. And maybe you smoked a cigar from this manufacturer in one blend in one size, and you didn't like it, and you developed this preconceived notion, oh, I don't like that brand or that manufacturer of cigars. And it's like, well, you only smoked one cigar of one blend in one size. And then you even get people that generalize even more, and they say, well, I don't like Maduro wrappers, or I don't like Robustos.
San Andreas.
Or I don't like San Andreas, or another different kind of wrapper type, right? Even more specific than Maduro. And Jason, go back. You're saying, like, you sound like the kind of person that's like, I'll try anything and I'll give everyone a fair shake, and I appreciate what everyone does. And I want people who are listening to this, and I try and mention this on like every other show, like make sure you have an open mind. Similar to what Jason was saying, like, smoke everything and don't funnel yourself into these categories and make those quick decisions about what you like and what you don't like. Give everything a chance.
When you buy a cigar, you want to like it,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, you want to like
Absolutely.
it, and you have a vested interest in liking it. Number one, because if you're the kind of guy who's going to pay $10 to light something on fire and just so that you can hate it, I don't want to be friends with you. You're an asshole. Like, I want to buy something and like it. And you have to give everybody a shot. You really do. And it's, you hear sometimes people disparage, Don Nobody's coming out and all these random cigar makers. Well, you know what? All those guys, all these new boutiques and stuff like that, everybody who's coming out, they started the same way that all the old guys that you defer to all the time started out. Those guys were new companies at one point. So you gotta give everybody a fair shake, and you got to go into it wanting to like it.
With open mind.
Sometimes you have to expand a little bit on that to what you guys are saying. Yeah, if you take a blend and you smoke a Robusto and you don't like it, whatever blend that may be from whatever manufacturer, sometimes it takes 2 times to smoking that Robusto.
Yes.
You have to, I mean, I've done it many times where I've smoked something and it was like, maybe that wasn't what I thought it was going to be like. But then you smoke it again and the flavors came out and you're like, man, this is not a bad cigar. And you're like, I didn't think that way about it the first time I smoked it, but now I'm going to give it another shot.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's so much hard work and dedication. It takes an average of about 2 years and about 250 people to produce one cigar, from seed to when I'm touching it and giving it to your hand when you're at a retailer. So it's just, there's a lot of effort. There's a lot of people that touch this cigar and a lot of time. And, just if you're smoking a cigar, even if you don't like it right off the bat, just try to enjoy it, because somebody's put a lot of work and effort and time into that. And just enjoy the experience, because that's what it is. These are all experiences. I often say I don't sell cigars, I sell experiences, because it's all about that experience. The first time that you smoked a cigar, Paul, I bet you can tell me the first cigar you smoked, what you were doing, when it was, what the weather was, and all the surroundings, because it was that experience of smoking that cigar.
Yeah,
Jared,
Macanudo Portofino while fishing. Absolutely.
What about you, Jared? What was your first one?
My first cigar was an Arturo Fuente Curly Head. That's a great.
You know what? That's a great value. I don't want to say it's a cheap cigar, a value price cigar, right? But it's a lower price cigar that I think has a lot of value to it.
Yep, it was an Arturo Fuente Curly Head that I took from my boss at the restaurant I was washing dishes at's office, and I smoked on a pile of pallets behind the restaurant once I was waiting once I got out of work when I was like 14.
Yeah, nice.
So if you're listening, John, I stole a cigar from you. I'm going on record. I'm like a criminal in this show.
You're not a nice person.
I'm a criminal
How did
in
you
this
even
show.
Get on this show.
Why am I talking about this? Is this live? Why am I talking about this?
Your true colors came out.
Jeez, man. I'll never be invited back. I hope you enjoyed my last Stogie Geeks show, Jason. This was great.
It's my day. It's my debut and your exit, Jared.
That's
What do you
right,
think
man.
about that,
You're gonna
brother?
have to fly to Rhode Island.
No,
This man always
and I think that's one of the things we try and embody here on the show, and why I appreciate people like Jason coming on the show and sending us cigars is that Will, myself, and Jared, we get to smoke a lot of different cigars. People send it to us; they send us samples, which I think is it's so generous and so awesome, and we get to share that with our listeners, right? And you can try and align with our palates, but in the end, you have to smoke the cigar for yourself. And where I'm going with that is there's been a ton of times where Will or Jared or Stogie Santa said, you got to try that cigar. And exactly what Jason was saying. I'm like, yeah, I smoked one and I didn't get it. And sometimes it takes someone else saying, no, try that again.
Yeah.
Try that again.
You didn't get it.
Yeah, you didn't get it. Smoke another one and try again to get it. And then and it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but maybe 50 or 60% of the time, I smoke that cigar again. I'm like, oh, I get it now. I'm like, like you're saying, sometimes you got to smoke it twice to get it. And sometimes I smoke it again, and I'm like, okay, this isn't a bad cigar. We're not saying this is a bad cigar, but I'm like, nah, I just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
And people's palates are going to differ, and that's fine. But talking about it and coming on the show and sharing all these experiences, as you say, Jason, experiences with our listeners helps them try different things and form opinions, and I think it's really positive for our industry. So.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay. All right. Any more questions for Jason?
I think I got all mine in.
Jason, are you ready to play 5 questions with the Stogie Geeks?
Oh, goodness. Yes, sir.
All righty. 3 words to describe yourself.
Stylish, determined, confident.
If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
A strategically placed banana peel.
If you were to write a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Mistakes and how to learn from them.
In the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
First, and then I'm going to call timeout.
That's a good one. I've never heard of someone using the timeout rule. There is a timeout rule in Ask Grabby Grabby. That's very good, Jason. I like it. Jason, choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
I mean, this is a hard question, man. Because
this is the hardest one, dude. I know. The mom is hard.
The mom's hard because you don't want to make her so hot that it's awkward.
Scarlett Johansson comes to mind, but that's not. I'm not.
Yeah, my girlfriend would kill me if I said Scarlett Johansson. I know she's listening in the other room, so that's a negative.
Don't say that.
So then don't say that.
I'm going to go with David Beckham. I think he's just a tremendous person. That'd be a cool dad to have.
But he's always in his underwear all the time. Wouldn't that be weird?
He's a good-looking guy, though. I mean, if you're hanging out with him, chances are attractive ladies are going to come up and talk to him.
Yeah, but then they're like, why is your dad in his underwear?
Yeah.
Can you tell your dad to put on some pants, please? That would be
I feel it awkward that I have to tell you twice to put your pants back on.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I'm 5, Dad. Come on. This is a play date.
I'm going to go with Marilyn Monroe.
All right.
She's hot enough, but, it's old enough back in the day.
Right.
So.
It's safe. It's safe.
Yeah,
One of our guests on our previous show, on the security show that I do before this one, said Marilyn Monroe. There you go. 2 Marilyn Monroes in one night. Can you imagine that? That's awesome.
Wow.
Jason, thank you very much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show. It's been wonderful having you. Stay tuned, everyone. Debonair Ideals coming up next. And we have a fabulous contest. It's going to be a trivia question, so make sure you pay attention to the next segment as we might mention the answer to the contest question in the next segment. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, so I didn't know the answer to this question.
What is it?
At what temperature, Jason, see if you know the answer. At what temperature are we streaming live? Kill the live stream. We can't give away the answer on the live stream. Okay, so at what